In this video I show you Wolfenstein the board game by Archon Studios. But before we get into today's video, just want to share with you what the GGGG is for this month. Each month Bob the Beholder picks some of my Patreon supporters to receive gratitude gifts, and for this month of May of 2022 we have this printed and painted Grimness Bridge from Deco Quest, Bardsung the Legend Pledge in hand and ready to ship, Wonderland's War Deluxe Edition with premium chips ready to ship, Pro Acryl Miniature Paints base set, a $94 value, and finally we have $100 going towards a crowdfunder which the Patreon supporters are voting upon. Go ahead and use the link below to go to my Patreon page, as we will be adding more items as the month goes along. So I did receive my Kickstarter pledge of Wolfenstein, so I'm going to go ahead and do a quick unboxing, but the miniatures do need to be assembled, so I'm going to need some time to do that, but I will show you that as well. And I'm really glad that I did get Wolfenstein rather than Reichbusters, because I did see a lot of reviews saying that that game wasn't that great. And this game is relatively simple that I hear. It is more like Zombicide, a light dungeon crawler, and that's something that I'm also looking forward to. So let's go ahead and do the unboxing. Alright, so here's the base box. I went ahead and removed all the shrink wrap so that there isn't any glare on here. But we're getting all of these different miniatures. I wonder how many there are. Total number, I'm not quite sure. I wish it was more than a 1 to 4 player game. Maybe there might be a way to house rule it so that we can play up to 6 players, because my game group is 6 people. That's the thing I like about Zombicide, is you can play up to 8 heroes. So we'll see. We got the rule book and the mission book. A bunch of tokens. Here are the tiles. Oh, look how empty the rest of it is. This is so that you can put all of the miniatures in there. Which is there. There's really nothing else in there. These are all cards. My guess is the minis must be in the red boxes, and a bunch of dice. And I did go ahead and 3D print these card and token holders that someone already posted on Thingiverse. Use the links below. And thanks so much to the creator who made these. I always love how quickly people share their STL files, so that those of us who have 3D printers can print out all of these token holders. This packet also was loose in the box, and I think it shows you a map for all of the trays. Here's a correction for assembly. This is super nice because I usually have to take a picture so that I know where all of the miniatures go. But this shows you how many miniatures are in the base box, which I think this is included in the retail. And board game, oh, these are just how to assemble the miniatures. So instructions for each of those boxes, which again I think is available at retail. A thank you note from Archon Studios, I always love that. Next, let's take a look at Old Blood. And look at all these miniatures I'm going to have to paint. Definitely going to be using speed paints or contrast colors to do my speed painting method. I have a ton of videos about how to speed paint. I won't be doing a painting tutorial for these miniatures, but you can check out and get an idea of how I do my speed painting. Extra tiles, extra characters, and again, I wonder how they're going to box this for retail. I'm guessing that they're not going to include these trays for the retail version, or maybe they'll stick them underneath. I'm not entirely sure, but not a whole lot inside of these boxes without the miniatures. I will probably consolidate because I don't typically use the game trays to hold miniatures. I just stick them in my display case. So I might be able to consolidate all the game material into one box. So this is the All-Stars. Oh, quick look at the back. Even more heroes that you can play. I mean, just a dizzying number. So a lot of replayability with the different characters. Again, more mission books and cards. This one doesn't have quite as many. Alright, so this is where I'm guessing, yes, all of the plastic is in here. So I'm not 100% sure what is the base box, are the expansions, but this is a heck of a lot. I'm going to look online and basically build up the base box first, unless there's a reason where you're getting extras of a certain type of enemy, then I'll just do assembly line and build them as well. Here are stands. I think there's these little robots that fly around. So, and I just love these bases as well, and it looks like they're numbered, so the number must have some kind of gameplay value. And I know it's an option to have these pre-built. I didn't opt for that. I'm used to building stuff, building my miniatures, so that's not going to be a big deal for me. And I think these are the 3D tokens. So this looks super cool with the ammo and whatever these things are, noise tokens. So these look super cool. I'll be punching out a bunch of that. These are the doors. And then this looks like these are the player trays. A number of people painted theirs. I don't know if I'm going to paint mine, to be honest. Alright, so the final thing are the 3D walls. Now, I just got the base pledge, which I think was 120 US dollars, but I reached out to Archon because I have a pretty good relationship with them and said, hey, I'll do a video if you want to send me the 3D terrain. So they were kind enough to send me this terrain, which I'm really grateful for. And as I imagined, it's using the same connectors as the rest of their 3D terrain. I've done 3 videos for them in the past featuring their various Kickstarters with this 3D terrain. And I'm definitely going to try to figure out how to paint these up quickly, because look at all of that detail on there. And bookshelves are the bane of my existence, because oftentimes I have to paint them separate colors, but this time I think I'll just paint all of them brown or something like that, just to make it simple. And I actually like the fact that the walls aren't super tall, because that was one of my complaints with their regular 3D terrain. I just felt like the walls were so tall that I like the half-height walls more, and these look like they are about half the height of their regular 3D terrain sets. So I appreciate that. I like that. It's going to make painting them a lot quicker, actually. And I think I'm going to go for a base gray castle color scheme, and then touch up on all of these other little bits and stuff. But it will take me a while. I did see someone on the Facebook page, they just used a regular dungeon tile set, I think from Printable Scenery, and that looked really good too. So if you missed out on not getting the 3D terrain, although I do think this is going to be available, I think almost everything is going to be available through retail, except for obviously the Kickstarter exclusives, which I think are mostly just miniatures. I don't think this 3D set is an exclusive, but yeah, if you missed out on this, or you don't want to pay the $100 or so that this is going to cost, I definitely think it's a possibility to be able to use a 3D dungeon tile set. There's a ton of them out there. One of my favorites is Dragon's Rest, just because the whole set is magnetized. If you want to see that video, go ahead and check that out here, where I compare different dungeon tiles. But super glad that they sent me this. I just love the immersion of having 3D tiles. Alright, so that's what's in the box. I'll come back after assembling some of the miniatures. Well, here you have all of the miniatures assembled, and that took way longer than I thought it was going to take. I spent the last week and a half basically a couple hours each day putting these miniatures together, and there was an option to actually have pre-assembled miniatures. I sort of wish that I would have done that because it was only $20 or $30 more to get that done, and that definitely would have been worth it. So it's going to take me a while to paint all of this. I didn't even put together the dashboards for the heroes or didn't put together the 3D terrain yet, but hopefully I'll be able to get that painted up, and I'll show another video once I'm done with that. But I really do love how these miniatures are, and they're super detailed, and I like how there are a lot of different poses for each of the units. And I have to say, the base game and all the miniatures here are from the base game, has a huge amount of miniatures. And so I don't know if you really need to get the expansions, Old Blood, as well as the All-Stars. The All-Stars box is basically giving you a ton more heroes that you can play with and only 4 additional enemy bosses, whereas Old Blood is giving you these Nazi zombie units, some dog units, some shooters, also doubling the number of playable heroes here with 6 more. And then this boss, as well as the dog master. So if you only get the base box, I think it is a huge deal, because look at how many miniatures that you're going to get, and I can attest that they are high quality. I'm looking forward to painting these guys because they have a good amount of detail on them. So overall, at least in terms of components, I'm really happy with this Kickstarter, and I'm glad that I backed it. I'm going to look forward to painting this up so that I can play, and I'll tell you what I think of gameplay. But overall, the miniatures are fantastic. It's going to take you a while though to assemble them, and I just use regular Testors plastic cement to put all these together, although you could use CA glue or super glue if you wanted to. Use links below to the Board Game Geek site just to see some of the reviews. I think folks are overall happy with the gameplay from this. Hit that like button and subscribe, and go to my Patreon page if you want to check out the GGGGs for this month. Otherwise, happy gaming. We'll see you next time.